Latest live stream. I hope everybody's having a good afternoon so far. Has actually been a pretty busy day in terms of the weather that we currently have ongoing. What we saw earlier today was that tornado outbreak back up in the Midwest that was not expected, by the way. Give you some review on that here in just a little bit if you missed that. But we do have an ongoing tornado warning currently that is just to the southwest of Nashville, Tennessee. This has been ongoing for the last 20 to 25 minutes, and it is still ongoing for the next 13 minutes as it continues to move off to the east and east-northeast. Give you the latest breakdown on what's going on here. We have several other severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing. There is a counter at the bottom of your screen to give you an update on how many warnings we have all across the United States, which includes 10 severe thunderstorm warnings, one of them producing very large hail right now. We'll get to that here in just a second. Before we get too far into this, though, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe. All right, let's get right into this initial tornado warning. This is southwest of Nashville. This is currently going actually towards Nashville right now. Luckily, the rotation has started to weaken a little bit since the very beginning of this warning, but it very well may recycle. We'll have to watch this storm pretty closely. This is a current look at the velocities just west of Brentwood. Let's go and put on the velocities here, and it's not nearly as impressive as before. We had a little area before that was closer to Interstate 40. That is weakened out. We had another area back down here near Brentwood that is also weakened out. So some good news overall. We're beginning to see that rotation at least weaken for the time being. Now, that does not mean this area is out of the hook yet, because we very well may see the potential for this to recycle as it continues to move off to the east over the next little while. In fact, there is still an inflow going into the storm back down here near Brentwood, so we'll have to watch that area closely as this continues to track out to the east. Let's go and put a little timing guide on this. Look at this line of storms, by the way. This is insane. We're looking at an entire line stretching from Kentucky all the way back down even now through. It's getting pretty close to not Minnesota. I keep saying Minnesota. Mississippi, though. Those areas are actually in track right now for a line of storms. So we'll kind of show you the broad picture here in just a second. Let me put a little timing guide on here, though, for those that might be in the track of these storms right now. We'll kind of go along this entire line. It's going about 40 miles per hour, by the way, so it is moving pretty quickly. Look at the timing for you on the left side of your screen. This is all in Central Time. So Franklin, 424. Brentwood, 429. That's the area that's actually next in track for the ongoing tornado warning storm. Nashville, 431. Eventually Hendersonville, 436, Green Hill, 445, eventually going towards Lebanon right around 504, and then Cookville, 608. So those are the areas in track of this line of storms. And again, this is a very impressive line of storms right now, moving through Nashville and going towards Brentwood, Franklin, and Spring Hill. So again, if you're in this tornado warning, though, that does include still areas just southwest of Nashville. Still stay in shelter for the next 10 minutes as this tornado warning storm continues to move off to the east towards Oak Hill and Brentwood. Again, Nashville is also going to be in the track of this here over the next little while. All right, let's kind of zoom out here. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning to get to real quick. This one is producing some substantial hail. It is a very strong storm. This is currently near Shelby. It is producing hen egg sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds going towards Webb and Glendora. The new warning out in front of it is for $half sized hail. So we very well may see some hail out of this storm as that continues to track out to the east. That is far south of Memphis. Again, this is in kind of western, northwestern Mississippi right now. By the way, the severe thunderstorm watch has been issued recently. That does include areas from Tennessee back through Arkansas. This is for the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. Could see a couple of tornadoes as well. Again, along that line of storms, a good chance that we see a couple of brief spin-ups, along with up to ping pong ball-sized hail will be possible tonight, again, in this severe thunderstorm watch. We have another warning back down here to the south that is currently to the west of Albany in Georgia. This is producing right now 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-sized hail. There is actually a tornado possible on this. Look at this hook, by the way. Let's go over to this. Let me change over to this real quick so we don't get confused about these warnings. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning, but it has a tornado possible, meaning we do have a chance that we might see some rotation with this. Currently, the rotation is pretty broad and weak, but we'll have to watch this storm closely. Again, as of now, it is a tornado possible. And again, that rotation is just to the northwest of Coleman. Fairly broad right now, but another area to watch as of now. Again, it looks like a little hook there, but I do think there's more of an outflow boundary that might be producing a little hook shape that's, again, not really a hook echo, but it is definitely an impressive looking supercell. Again, moving off to the east-northeast, producing 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. For those in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, we're currently seeing a huge cluster of showers and storms. Tornado potential is fairly low in this region, but we will have to watch the potential for damaging winds and hail across that area. Again, back up here, let's go back to Nashville for the time being. We have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This is a considerable threat, also has a tornado possible label. This is for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. That includes areas like Nashville, Tennessee, going through Franklin, Smyrna, as well as Brentwood. Spring Hill, Nolensville, Forest Hills, Oak Hill, and as well as Thompson Station. All those areas on the left side of your screen are included in a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. That is for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. And again, the highest winds that we're currently seeing are probably going to be right along this area here from Franklin back through Nashville. So again, you're going to want to make sure you're staying away from windows. 70-mile-per-hour winds are definitely high, without a doubt. Tornado warning still goes for another 7 minutes, by the way. So we'll be watching that closely again as this continues to track out to the east-northeast. Let me go back over to here real quick. We'll go over to this for now. Let's go back up to the north. We have a couple of other warnings back near West Virginia. These have actually been fairly severe for a while. It seems like both of the cells that were originally severe are now starting to weaken out. We have one in West Virginia. The other one is currently centered just west of Crown City. This is northeast of Kentucky. Let's go over to the velocities. Not a whole lot there. This was also a tornado possible storm a while ago. It does not seem like it is anymore, though. Again, this cell right now is moving off to the as well as to the northeast. It still is actually a tornado possible label, but I don't think the rotation is nearly as impressive. It could produce hail up to the size of quarters in 60-mile-per-hour winds. And that's what we're looking at as of right now. And also, we have another warning back down in Louisiana. Let's hop over to that real quick. Another warning back down near Elizabeth. This is also producing quarter-sized hail. It goes for another 7 minutes. Another storm to watch. But overall, any severe weather action today, and really the worst action, will be across Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. Let me go and show you the Storm Prediction Center outlook for today. And this is a look at least for today's severe weather event. There is a slight risk back through Tennessee into Arkansas and northern Louisiana. Also includes Mississippi and Alabama. We do have a marginal threat still to note that goes from Ohio back down even through Georgia and into eastern Texas. So those areas all on alert, at least for a potential for isolated damaging winds and large hail. There also may be a little low-end threat for a tornado or two. It depends on where you're at, though, because I think the best tornado potential today will really be along this line of storms, which, again, look at this line. It goes from Bowling Green back down through Holly Springs. It is a long line of storms that we're seeing. Again, this trough is way back up into Canada, so it is impressive what we're seeing out there. And for those that did not already hear about from earlier, we actually did have a little mini tornado outbreak back up here in Illinois and Wisconsin. I'll go back to that here in a second. I'll have to go ahead and reload the thing here, but we actually had about 5 confirmed tornadoes so far back up in northeast Illinois and southeast Wisconsin. So it was actually a pretty active afternoon up there. That was around noontime to about 2 or 3 o'clock. We had a few tornado warnings up there, and it was very active. So definitely not out of the question. We could see something similar to that, but I don't think we'll see anything that crazy. It was a very active morning, really late morning, early afternoon, though, back up there in areas like Milwaukee. Even Milwaukee actually had a tornado. I think it was brief, but there was a confirmed tornado there as well. So very active day so far, and it will continue again with this ongoing line of storms that is very long. So we'll be watching it pretty closely for you. Alrighty, let's get to some chat questions. How's everybody doing, by the way, today? How are you guys all doing? Thank you, Brian, for the 5 gifted members. I appreciate that, Brian. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, thank you. It has been busy, though. It's been busy. Actually, I believe this tornado warning may have been canceled now. I could be wrong. Still says it's on going on here. For right now, though, again, this tornado warning expires in 5 minutes. The storms, though, are now back out to the east. It's primarily a damaging wind threat now here across this line from Nashville back down through Spring Hill. Again, 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds are possible. Up and down this line of storms, definitely can rule out some gusty winds at the bare minimum. As this line continues to push off to the east, again, that extends down into northern Mississippi all the way back down through southern Kentucky right now. Again, it's a pretty elongated line of storms that we're seeing, again, across these 3 states. It's very impressive. And again, this was kind of indicated on the future models from earlier today, but definitely be something to watch for very closely. Again, it will probably continue through the at least mid-evening hours, so about 10 o'clock or so. It'll start to weaken out probably just after sunset for the most part across these areas. We do have an update, by the way, on the Mississippi storm. We do have still a severe thunderstorm warning ongoing here for hen egg-sized hail. Just hop over to that real quick. This storm, again, was producing some fairly large hail. I do think it's been weakening a little bit. And yeah, it's still pretty decent there. Again, this storm right now producing hen egg-sized hail. Definitely the largest hailstone size that we've seen on a warning so far today. But definitely be something to watch for. Again, any storms out that are discrete could very well have a pretty decent chance at least some hail. Again, hail threat is not our biggest concern today. It's going to be more of a damaging wind threat. But we very well may see a few storms that do end up producing a little bit of hail. Again, maybe up to the size of ping pong balls. Isolated storm could go above that, but biggest concern definitely be damaging winds. We do have a hail threat that's the same thing as a damaging wind threat. It's a 15% probability by the Storm Prediction Center. Then the tornado potential actually has been increased. Let me go ahead and show you guys this real quick. You have an increase on the tornado potential. It's for a very small region, but it would be across areas in northern central Mississippi. So for those in Yazoo City, through Tupelo, if I'm saying the name right, as well as Columbus and Louisville and Philadelphia, all those areas are actually included in a 5% probability for later today into the evening hours for maybe a couple of tornadoes. So again, a little bit of an increased tornado potential there. It will depend on what happens though over the next few hours here across Mississippi. If we begin to see more of, discrete supercell action begin to develop, that'll be a question mark. But if it does end up happening, we very well may see an isolated tornado or two in that region. Otherwise, the tornado potential is not non-existent. It's pretty low, but it's not zero. I'll go from about Ohio back through Louisiana as well as Arkansas. So again, a very large area today that we're still watching. Again, very large line of storms. I mean, I don't know if I've seen a long line of storms like this at all this month or even really last month. I think our last time that we've had anything this long in terms of a line of storms was probably back in August. So it's been a while since we've had something like this. And thank you, Nash, by the way, for becoming a 2-month member. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let me go back over to here. Let's put it back on here. Again, tornado warning's back to expire. I think it already did, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been canceled by the National Weather Service. So those in Nashville, Oak Hill, Nolensville, and Smyrna and going towards Murfreesboro are all going to be included probably at least in the near future near Interstate 24 in this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, it's for 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds. This is a current look at the velocities. And let's go over to this. And the velocities are really highest here. It looks like near Brentwood. It's hard to see. It looks a little bit pixelated right now, but that's the area that we're probably seeing right now, 70-mile-per-hour damaging winds. Here's the latest update. We'll get a value on this here and see if we can get an actual value. Yeah, about 61 miles per hour is being estimated just southeast of Brentwood. And back up near Nashville, we also have another little area near about 60 miles per hour. So we have a couple of little pockets there of around 60 mile per hour damaging winds. Again, anywhere along this line, though, could very well produce that potential for upwards of 60 to 70 mile per hour damaging winds as this continues to move off to the east. Hey, stay safe, Storm. Stay safe. Hey, Judith, how you doing? Welcome back. How you doing, Samurai? How you doing? Welcome back. All right, tornado warning was canceled. Thank you. It just doesn't, for whatever reason, it doesn't expire on here. I'm not sure why. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in Mississippi. It's going to be for that storm that's producing some fairly large hail. Let's hop over to that one. This is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. Let me remove the tornado warning real quick. But this is for up to golf ball sized hail. That's our brand new warning. Still have that hen egg sized hail warning going for another second, and then it's going to expire. So this warning will replace it. We're still seeing large hail though here near Drew. It has not been reissued for that county near Highway 49, but this is a storm again producing up to golf ball sized hail currently. So brand new warning again for golf ball sized hail. Let me just kind of fix around the warning count here. All right, so we're currently at 6 severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, we were at about 12 at one point earlier. We very well will see an increase of warnings, by the way. This is obviously not the peak of the event, but we are still seeing this line of storms all the way. Again, very elongated line of storms. It goes from Kentucky. Let me go over to this radar and let's kind of show you on here. I'm going to go ahead and measure it as well. This is a pretty impressive line of storms here. This again is about 250-ish miles long, and that's kind of going diagonal. If we did displacement and whatnot, it'd probably be somewhere around 280, but it's a very long line of storms. Again, that is our distance that we're currently seeing, and it will likely grow over the next few hours. And again, this is not a derecho because it's not a widespread damaging wind event, but we'll definitely see at least some widely scattered to maybe scattered areas of damaging winds across this line. Most of this area, though, will at least see some gusty winds. Again, Nashville seems to be getting pounded right now with this line of storms as it again continues to move into that area. Nashville, Franklin, Nolensville, Smyrna, anywhere near Interstate 24, beginning to see that increase of wind threat. Here's the latest warning, by the way. It's just been updated. It's now down to 60 mile per hour winds. That was what was being estimated by the velocities radar. So some good news there. But again, that's been downgraded just a little bit. Let me see if we have an... Oh, also, there's a tornado possible label still on this, just for an FYI. We do have a new warning. It's kind of going with the other one that we had. It's just a very small addition for those that might just be tuning in. Golf ball sized hailstorm. This is the one that is still golf ball sized hail, 60 mile per hour winds. Little update there. It is including a few more counties. It was obviously not including where the storm is right now, which is right about here. So near Drew and Ruleville, those areas, again, just north of Ruleville, still an ongoing storm there producing golf ball sized hail. So just a little addition to the ongoing warning that we had there already. It was a little bit out in front of where that storm was. So just a little update there. Hey, thank you, Miss, for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. No problem, Jackson. Does the line have any northeast movement in Kentucky? For the most part, any of this line is, for the most part, just moving east-northeast, kind of in this direction. I know there's a couple of cells up here that are moving more northeast. That is more of the discrete action that we're seeing, though. It's not really the line. So overall, the line's moving a bit more east-northeast right now, more than anything. I can put it in a loop. Let's go and put this in a loop on this radar. Kind of make it a little bit more widespread here. So this is a little loop at what we're seeing. So the discrete cell action back up here, all moving to the northeast. We have this line that is currently all moving, mostly to the east or east-northeast. Actually, I think most of the line right now is moving just directly east. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at for the most part right now. And back down here, also in northern Mississippi, all those cells as well moving east. And yeah, so yeah, any discrete action back up there is going to be moving northeast. So other than that, the line is for the most part just moving east. Now, could we see this extend a little bit further to the north and maybe develop a bit further off to the north as this continues to move east? That's definitely possible. I mean, we're already seeing a little bit of storm activity trying to develop on the northern end of this line of storms. So we very well may see this start to kind of grow a little bit in at least length going from south to north. Definitely a possibility, but overall, I think our best chance, again, for any sort of severe weather action will probably be along this line. So really very southern Kentucky through Tennessee. Mississippi, and Alabama seem to be the main 3 states here for severe weather today. And again, it would probably be this region here. And the highest tornado threat is going to be here, by the way, near Tupelo, just south of Interstate 22. That is our region, again, for our highest tornado threat later today, basically going to the early evening. So we'll have to watch that area pretty closely. But that's what we're looking at for right now. Let me go and stop it here. Let's go back over to the high-def radar. And this is a look at the storm over Nashville, Tennessee. Again, for those in Nashville, make sure you're staying away from windows. Pretty strong storm here. A lot of lightning, most likely, as well down this direction. Also, a new update on the Georgia storm. We got in Randolph County, Georgia. Let's hop down to that one. This is actually a tornado possible storm. It has been downgraded in hailstone size, but it is still producing 60-mile-per-hour winds. Here's a look at that storm right now. And velocities are actually still looking, they're weak, but they're definitely still there. This is, again, a storm that we might have to watch here. Has a little bit of an inflow, so we'll be watching this one closely. Here's your inflow going to the storm. Got a little hook here on the back end. So if there's to be any tornado threat with this, it'd be located just there to the northeast of Coleman as that continues to track out to the east-northeast. So it's going to be a storm to watch as that continues to track out that direction. But other than that, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning actually down in Alabama. This is a look at the Alabama storm. So near Fulton and Thomasville. This is for 60-mile-per-hour winds. Not a whole lot of a hail threat here. Going toward Highway 43. So that's our brand new update there. Go back up to here. Let's go back. Oh, actually, we do have a new wind damage report. This is associated with when the tornado warning storm is ongoing. So we do have a new update on this near Fairview. This is a new damage report. Large tree limbs down at the intersection of Highway 100 and Westview Boulevard. So brand new update there. Again, this is the storm that was tornado warned at one point. No longer is tornado warned. It's just a severe thunderstorm warning. But this has actually produced some wind damage. And that's kind of granted with the wind speeds that we saw that were upwards of 70 miles per hour. So just a little update there. Alrighty, let me get some chat questions. How's everybody doing today? Let's get some chat questions here. Also, this live stream, for those that are curious, if you're, want to tune in once and come back later, this live stream will probably be between 1 to 2 hours long from right now. I have a test tomorrow, so I'm going to be studying for that a lot, hopefully tonight. But if there's more severe weather later, because I think this is going to be kind of like our first initial severe weather, we might see more around 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. I might just do one live stream now and another live stream later. We'll see what happens, but that's my plan for right now. So, but yeah, I do have a pretty important midterm tomorrow, so live stream will not be full length, but we'll see what happens. I appreciate it, Musk. Thank you for tuning in. What about Michigan? Let's go up to Michigan, actually. This is the area that saw the, not Michigan specifically, but up back in the Midwest. For those that are just tuning in, didn't already hear, there was several tornadoes earlier in this region, all across southeast Wisconsin and northeast Illinois. We had 5 confirmed tornadoes in this region. Now, this is basically the remnants of what was from that little tornado outbreak that we saw, is this cluster. It's basically this leading line of storms here. It's not really storms anymore, it's just rain. There's no lightning associated with them, so it's mostly just downpours now. But this little line here that we see here, that's where our cold front is. Anything behind it is mostly just scattered showers. But we did have a tornado outbreak there earlier. Other than that, Michigan, just seeing rain, gusty winds as possible. We've actually had some wind gust reports upwards of 60 miles per hour. So there will be wind gusts upwards of 60 along that cold front front, but other than that, it's going to be primarily just rain in Michigan. No tornado threat up that direction. The only tornado threat that we did see was with what we saw in terms of the tornado I will call it a small tornado outbreak back over in this direction. Let me actually go back a few hours here. Let's go and turn this on. Let's go back 6 hours. And you'll see all the tornado warnings. This is from earlier, so just for those that might be, interested in this. This is from earlier. Look how many tornado warnings we had the same exact time. This is this was at one exact time here in southeast Wisconsin. We had 4 tornado warnings earlier. After that, we still had tornado warnings continuing through Milwaukee, basically all across southeast Wisconsin. We had several tornadoes confirmed, or at least reported here. We had about 5, I think, confirmed. Yeah, so 5 reported. There was also another tornado that I believe that was confirmed down here south of Milwaukee. So we had at least 5 or 6. Tornado was reported back up in Brown Deer. There was also one over in Pewaukee, another one over in Whitewater. We had another one in Burlington and another one in Elkhorn. So yeah, it was a very active. But this is again between about 11:30-ish p.m. Central up to about 1 o'clock or so Central time. After that, there was really nothing after that. I mean, we basically saw an hour and a half of just a bunch of tornado warnings. And look at all the wind damage, too, all these blue boxes. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, this was a very small event. It only lasted maybe at the most 2 hours. So, yeah, it's pretty impressive what, went down here. And then after that, it was just rain. So this is, again, a strong low-level jet was in place here, but really there was uncertainty if there would be any tornado threat, which those weren't really storms. They didn't have any lightning or anything, so at least from what I know, I don't think they had any lightning, so yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation that happened up there. And I know a lot of people that live in southeast Wisconsin, and I know they actually had to seek shelter, and I know some schools had to, go under their shelter plans and whatnot, because obviously during a tornado warning, you have to do that sort of thing. So it was active, though, to say the least, up in Wisconsin today. Thanks, Judith. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, there was a lot of warnings. I'm not sure the exact count total, but I know we had probably upwards of at least, I think 4 or 5 at the same time was the maximum. I think it was 4. But yeah, it was interesting. We have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning back down in Louisiana. Let's hop over to that. This is over back in basically north of Baton Rouge. This is currently going for Clinton. This is for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and quarter-sized hail. So we are currently sitting now at 8 warnings total, and that is just south of Norwood. Just a little severe thunderstorm warning update there. Let's stay on Nashville for now, and we'll see what happens from there. We do have another warning that has just been issued back up north of Fountain Run. This also has a tornado possible label on it, so we'll take a look at this and see if there's any rotation. Not seeing a whole lot here, at least within the warning, but this is for mostly just the potential for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. And again, that's northeast of Scottsville, south of Glasgow. So new warning there. That's our brand new warning. That includes Allen, Barron, and Monroe County. We also have a new warning in Georgia. This also has a tornado possible label, and this is for a storm that we've been watching for a while with some rotation. And again, this is the latest update. Doesn't seem to have much of an inflow anymore. It did at one point, but the brand new warning is going to be for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds, maybe a little bit of dime-sized hail. Other than that, this is a look at your rotation. Sorry for zooming in so much. There's still a little bit of very broad rotation. I wouldn't say there's much there, though. It's fairly weak, but again, it will be a storm to watch as that continues to track out to the east. So again, that's in southwest Georgia with our brand new severe thunderstorm warning. We are currently sitting at a total of 9 severe thunderstorm warnings, by the way. So it is, again, going to be a pretty active evening. We do have a elongated line of storms, and this is a look, again, across the 3 states, or really several states, but primarily from Kentucky back through right now northwest Alabama is where we're seeing this line of storms right now extend through. And there's also a little extension there into northern Mississippi. So really 4 states, but definitely something to watch here over the next several hours. Again, tornado threat will increase over the next few hours, so we'll be watching that closely. But overall, tornado threat should stay, for the most part, fairly low tonight. Is Wisconsin good for tonight? Yeah, Wisconsin will be good. The only thing in Wisconsin will be really just a wind threat. Behind that cold front, there's still some gusty winds. I know actually back up here in the Dakotas, this is an area that's this is the northwesterly winds behind the low pressure system. Wind gusts are upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour here. That won't happen in Wisconsin, but that's pretty crazy. That's an area that we've been seeing a lot of high winds behind the trough. That's, again, back up in Canada right now. But that's all that's blamed to be producing all this rain and obviously storm activity. The tornado warnings from earlier, everything basically is kind of to be blamed from that. We have another severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued. That includes Lebannon as well as Green Hill, Lakewood, and Hendersonville. This is for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. This also has a tornado possible. Let's take a look at the velocities. And I'll try to go back a scan or two. We are right next to the radar site, so this might be a little bit difficult to kind of see what we're looking at here. Let's go back like a scan. It seems like we have a couple of couplets here. Let's go over to here. Yeah, we have like a little small area back up near on the very northern side of this warning, so northeast of Hendersonville. Little area there. I think we have another one near the actual radar site too, so I'll have to watch this area again closely. QLCS situation is definitely possible with this line of storms. Again, tornado threat is definitely there tonight in terms of at least having some rotation along this line. So any of these areas, just make sure you're aware of maybe that brief tornado potential as these storms continue to track out to the east. Again, this is going to include Davidson, Sumner, and Wilson counties in Tennessee. That's our brand new warning. Is East Texas in a marginal threat? Yes, there's a marginal threat there. I don't think you'll see a whole lot tonight. I think the main concern will be Louisiana and eastward, but it's not impossible to see an isolated storm pop up. Damaging winds is really the only concern I would say there. The lapse rates are not overly high tonight there, but yeah, primarily going to be a little damaging wind threat at the bare minimum. But other than that, no tornado potential is going to be existent there in East Texas. How's North Carolina looking? You're looking good. The only storm activity that North Carolina will see, which won't be much, but it'll be tomorrow. There will be a marginal threat tomorrow. It's not going to include there, but let's go over to the tornado threat the severe weather threat for tomorrow, which does include tornado potential. This goes from actually North Carolina, so a very northern part of North Carolina, back through New York tomorrow. So I'll have to watch this area closely. Again, not a whole lot in terms of a threat tomorrow. It's going to be mainly just a damaging wind, isolated large hail, isolated tornado threat. It's going to be much more disorganized activity, though, tomorrow. In comparison to today, where we're seeing a little bit more organization, at least along this line, I would call this a little bit more organized. Tomorrow, it's not going to be anywhere close to this organized in terms of storms tomorrow across those areas in the mid-Atlantic regions and through the Northeast. But yeah, I definitely think today will be our best chance for severe weather. Low-level jet's strongest. The jet stream is also negatively tilted right now, and we really have a good setup overall for at least some severe weather. Tomorrow, a little bit different. Not going to be nearly as organized, not nearly as good of a setup. Low-level jet will be a little bit weaker than today as well. So we're looking at for tomorrow. Franklin, Kentucky. Let me look that up real quick for you. Was that in Southern Kentucky? Southern Kentucky has probably the best out of anywhere in Kentucky. You have the best chance for at least a damaging wind threat tonight, which that's actually, I'm pretty sure, already being hit by the storms. If not, they've already been hit. Yeah, so that's Franklin County is actually big. So down, yeah, this area has already been hit by the storms. I mean, you're pretty much done for tonight. I mean, you will not see much beyond this. It's just gonna be rain for the next hour, and then pretty much after that should be kind of drying off and whatnot. So I wouldn't be too concerned about any threat going on beyond the next hour or two. It's going to be mostly rain and a little bit of lightning for the next hour. No reason to be that concerned at this point. Let's go back to here down in Nashville. Put on a little loop real quick so you can get a general idea of what's happening. This is the last 6 hours, by the way, so just kind of see how the line is organized here across the mid-Mississippi Valley. By the way, thank you to 6th Gen for the $3.50 donation. What about Fishers, Indiana? Let me look that up for you. Appreciate the donation. Tonight, nothing up in nothing in Indianapolis. In Indianapolis is gonna be basically done for tonight. The only stuff that you saw today was just these showers. Any severe weather action today or tonight, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's basically this evening is gonna be our best chance. It's basically anywhere in this dark green or yellow shaded regions. Again, our marginal threat goes back through Ohio, into Georgia, and into East Texas, while there is a slight risk of severe weather across areas in actually a severe thunderstorm watch right now in Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, and southeast Arkansas. Other than that, you're not going to see any severe weather. It'll just be rain with maybe some gusty winds. Not a whole lot beyond that, though. That's definitely the main concern. All right, let's hop back over to this. Let's turn off the Turn off the loop. Over to this. There we go. Back to the live radar. Yeah, this is a storm that does have a tornado possible on it. We're watching this one closely. It's over the radar site here, northeast or east now of Nashville. So we'll be watching this as it approaches Lebanon. But yeah, again, this one had a little bit of rotation. I'm not seeing nearly as much anymore. We have a little bit of very weak rotation up there as well. It seemed like the only rotation we actually had with this was kind of close to the radar site. I'm not seeing a whole lot though right now, but we'll watch it closely. Again, really when there's a tornado possible label, it means that there's a possibility that we do see a tornado without there even being a tornado warning, but I'm not seeing a whole lot right now. And again, this is more of a QLCS situation where we may see a couple of these embedded brief and weak tornadoes across this line of storms, and this is an area that we may see that development at some point within the next 5 minutes or within the next hour. That's kind of to be determined, but there's definitely a potential with this part of the line of storms, so we're watching it closely. How's Atlanta looking for tonight? Atlanta will not see a whole lot other than just maybe some showers, maybe an isolated strong storm. You're kind of on the cusp of that marginal threat, so I wouldn't see a whole lot down that direction. I think our best chance for any severe weather against me in that slight risk region, but you might see an isolated strong storm. Definitely gonna probably see some rain tonight though for sure, but that might be a little bit later tonight, maybe even to the overnight hours possibly as well. Hey, thank you Lovely, by the way, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that as well. I appreciate that. We'll see what happens. Physics is not an easy subject at all, but we'll see. Thank you. Got some rotation on the new severe thunderstorm warning in Tennessee. We're talking about this one near Glasgow. Talking about another one, but this is not Tennessee. I'm very smart. I just went up to Kentucky. All right, back down to here. Are you talking about this warning here? The one over in near the radar site. Is that the one you're talking about? You go over to the radar scope real quick. I'm not seeing a whole lot of rotation anywhere along this area. Columbus, Ohio, main concern there. Maybe just isolated damaging winds, but other than that, I think Columbus will be fine tonight. Isolated storm potential may exist there. By the way, if you have not already, hit the like button. We're only one like for 150. I would appreciate it. Is Boston okay? You're talking about Boston, Massachusetts? Because if you're talking about there, you'll be fine tonight. Tomorrow, it's a different story. You might see some showers and maybe a couple of storms, but maybe late tomorrow. Doesn't seem like there'll be much, though, tomorrow. I'm in West Virginia. Will I be good later? The only concern for West Virginia is these little discrete storms that I was talking about a little while ago. So this is kind of a look. It's not really. It's really just weakening activity now. But any of this little activity, this is a 6-hour loop. But these are the storms that are moving northeast. The line's moving east. So any of these little showers and maybe weak storms that move through are really your only concern. It's a possibility that one or two may be severe, but it seems pretty unlikely. I mean, it's going to be a very isolated threat tonight. If we go to the current radar here, let's just pause it. This is our only storm that's actually strong right now. That's near Crown City. That is currently in western West Virginia. So this is really the only storm that I see any potential with going over the next few hours. But we might see an isolated storm or two that does become severe, but damaging winds is really the only concern I would say with any of those storms. Can't rule out an isolated brief spin up, but the threat is kind of diminishing the further east we go into West Virginia, for example. And as well as we go into the evening, the sun's obviously going down right now. So daylight heating will expire pretty soon over that direction as well. So looking at over there. Let's go back over to the high def. You know which warning we're talking about, by the way, Slippy? Which warning you were talking about? Northern part of the warning? Oh, we're talking about this one up here. Right here. Oh, you're talking about this? Not even in the warning? There's actually a little bit of rotation here. This is near Gallatin. So outside of the ongoing severe thunderstorm warning, we do have a little bit of rotation here. It's not overly strong, and it's obviously not tight either, but it is it's definitely be something to watch. Again, we may see a brief little spin up with this line. Let's go over to the live radar feed, kind of match it up. So yeah, it's a little embedded there, kind of near 109 and going towards highway 315. Maybe a little storm to watch. Otherwise, we got this line. There's a brand new severe thunderstorm warning as well. Just got issued. This is going to include areas near Walter Hill, Murfreesboro, Woodbury, Watertown, Lebanon, and going through Interstate 24, just southeast of Nashville, Tennessee. Again, a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This will be for the potential for a little bit of damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, as well as maybe a little low-end potential for an isolated brief spin-up. Again, it does not seem to be nearly as impressive as what it was when we first went live, when there was a bit more rotation. It does seem like it's weakened quite a bit, but we'll watch to see if there's any rotation with this. But again, brand new severe thunderstorm warning. Main concern right now seems to be damaging winds with that cell. Again, back up here near Gallatin, there was a little bit more rotation, so we'll watch that storm as well closely. Could get a brand new little severe thunderstorm warning there, maybe with a tornado possible. We could also get a tornado warning if that strengthens, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But again, that's a little storm to watch there near Gallatin. Well, Central Texas look like this weekend. Go over to my North Texas Weather Center page. It has more information there. It's linked down in the description below. It's on Facebook. Weekend, it's not in the warning anymore. I didn't see a whole lot of rotation anymore. The only area that has like a little bit is kind of where obviously where the velocities kind of get measured along the line with the radar site. So maybe a little bit of a broad rotation right there. And yeah, seems like that's already weakened. So yeah, near Gallatin, there's a little bit of mixture there, but it's not a whole lot. Seems like for the most part, it's more just a damaging wind threat right now. Again, tornado threat should increase going to a bit further this evening, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Lebannon, Tennessee. Yeah, Lebanon's gonna be in the track of this within the next 10 minutes, probably. Maximum 15 minutes. Again, this is a storm. The main area right now that we're watching for at least Lebanon would be here near Green Hill. So as that continues to track out to the east, there's a potential for damaging winds up to 60. Otherwise, I'm not seeing a whole lot of any other threat, at least in the short term. Seems like our highest wind speeds are also associated here, which is probably between 50 to 60. So that's, again, my main concern will be damaging winds as that approaches Lebanon. So just make sure you bring those loose line items, anything, plants, cover those over before the storm gets there, as long as it's safe right now. Obviously, the storm's approaching pretty quickly. There might be some lightning, so do not go outside if you hear any thunder, because there very well may be some lightning with this storm heading in that direction. It's only about 10 miles away, I'm pretty sure. Let me do a little measurement here. 10 to 15 miles, maybe. Not far. It's only about 9 miles, so about 9 miles at least from the downtown area of Lebanon. So yeah, definitely, I would not go outside, but yeah, the storm's heading in your direction right now. Other than that, we're not seeing a whole lot else with that storm, but for most parts right now, damaging winds. I had a hail report from earlier, by the way, about dime size. That was back over in Salem. So again, a wide look at all the warnings. They're pretty much they're pretty isolated right now. I mean, they're all in different states for the most part. It's kind of interesting to kind of look at here. But we have warnings in basically one in each state here. We have 2 right now in Mississippi. And there's actually a brand new warning. We'll get to that here in a second. There's another warning in Arkansas right now that's also recently been warned. We have one in Louisiana. We also have one in Georgia. We have one in Alabama. We have about 2 or 3, I think that's 3 now in Tennessee. Have one in Kentucky. And that's what we got going right now. So we basically have one warning in almost every state. This is a warning that we have ongoing in Arkansas that's near Camden. I don't think I mentioned this one yet. That's moving down to the southeast. That might produce damaging winds up to 60 and quarter-sized hail, so maybe a little storm to watch there. This is a new warning that we just had issued north of Interstate 20. This is also for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and half-dollar-sized hail. So another warning there we'll have to watch here over the next little while. Other than that, our biggest concern, again, will be across areas in Tennessee right now. And we have another warning update over in Louisiana. That warning is still ongoing for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. There's our latest update there. Kentucky storms are also the same way. Actually, did I say it right? Nobody? Said it right? There we go. I'm typically pretty bad with pronouncing names. I was surprised I actually got that one right. No problem, Haley. Stay safe. Stay safe. Boston safe. Yes, Boston is safe. Talking about Massachusetts. Yes. How's it going, Lance? Lacey, how you doing? Welcome back. How's everybody doing today, by the way? It's been for those, is anybody actually in the Midwest, by the way? I'm kind of curious. Is anybody in the Midwest? Because the Midwest saw some pretty substantial storms earlier. I am curious if anybody was actually over there in the Midwest. It was very active, though, earlier today, for sure. Midwest saw some pretty crazy activity. Again, if you kind of missed the story, there was like 5 tornadoes that were confirmed over there. So it's a very active day, to say the least, back up in the Midwest. That's been interesting. How's Minnesota doing? Minnesota didn't see a whole lot today. Minnesota's just saw rain, I think, more than anything. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in Mississippi later. Again, this is gonna be probably one of 2 live streams. I'll probably do a second one in a little bit. Again, this live stream will probably go for another maybe 20 to 30 minutes, unless there's a tornado warning, because I have to do some studying. As I mentioned before, I have a test tomorrow. It's a very important test. I've been studying literally for 2 weeks. So, but other than that, more importantly, if there is any big stuff that happens in Mississippi in about an hour or 2, I'll go live again for those in Mississippi. I'll probably at least be live for an hour or 2 on that, because they will probably get more active down there. Again, there's a increased tornado potential down here. This is the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center on the tornado threat. It would be basically anywhere in north and central portions of Mississippi, that brown shaded region. So Columbus, for example, there's a potential for an isolated tornado or 2 across this region. Obviously, that could also happen in the next couple of hours, so be watching that closely, but see what happens there. But yeah, this is gonna be an interesting area to watch for sure. Hey, Somni, how you doing? Welcome back. How's it going? This is one of my earlier streams I've had in a while, too. Other than the Ian when it made landfall in Florida. That was one of my earliest streams on record, but it's a pretty early stream for me. I typically go, I like going live around like 7 to 8 o'clock. Grand Canyon of Pennsylvania. There's a Grand Canyon in Pennsylvania? Oh, you're in the Midwest? I gotcha, yeah. Yeah, obviously, yeah, Minnesota's in the Midwest. I'm mainly talking about if anybody in the chat from anywhere in Wisconsin or Illinois, because I'm not sure if anybody actually experienced the tornado warnings today that unfolded up there. Again, earlier today, there was about 5 different tornado warnings at one time, 4 or 5, all in southeastern Wisconsin. So it was a very active late morning and early afternoon. It was interesting to say the least. But I don't think we had about 5 or 6 confirmed tornadoes at this point. I think Reed Timmer was actually live. He wasn't storm chasing, but he was live covering it. Luckily, somebody was covering it. I would have covered it, but I was not. I was in classes, so kind of unfortunate timing for me. Thanks, so I appreciate it. Near Jackson, Mississippi. Take a look. There's a couple of little storms that are beginning to develop here. Again, there might be a couple of these little discrete cells that end up trying to form. Let's go over to this. We got a couple right now trying to develop here. Overall, not too strong. They do have a little bit of rotation. They're trying to rotate a little bit, but nothing too strong yet. Again, this might be something to watch over the next hour or 2, though. These are firing up now, actually, in central Mississippi. This is the area that we might see the tornado potential actually unfold over the next hour or 2. Let me go over to the Storm Prediction Center website. I'm not sure if they put out a mesoscale discussion on this. They have not. But this is an area to watch maybe over the next couple of hours, potentially for a tornado threat in Mississippi. And again, Dixie Valley is an area that we're well known to see tornado outbreaks sometime unfold during the late fall and winter. We're not there yet, but definitely not out of the question. This is an area that we do see that threat sometimes unfold, so I might have to watch that a little bit later. That's crazy, Scott. I didn't even know that. That's the fact of the day, I guess. Chug water. I do drink a lot of water. I've already gone through a half thing of water. Hey, how you doing, Douglas? Any storms developing in Davie County, North Carolina tonight? No, nothing tonight. There might be some storms tomorrow, but I don't expect much tonight. Nothing there tonight. But tomorrow there's a chance for some showers, maybe an isolated storm or 2. I'm not sure where Davie County is, but I know like north/northeastern North Carolina, there is a chance for a couple of isolated severe storms tomorrow, but damaging winds the main concern there. Virginia's threat for severe weather is tomorrow. That is also mainly for damaging winds. Isolated tornado threat exists. That would be for mainly, I think, across central and southern and northern Virginia. I can pull it up actually on here real quick. This is tomorrow's threat for those that are on the East Coast, which I know I've gained a lot of East Coast viewers ever since we had the Ian coverage. But this is a look at the marginal threat tomorrow. So this is kind of our region. So broad spectrum here. So basically anywhere east of Interstate 81 there in Virginia is where we have that threat. for damaging winds. Again, isolated large hail, isolated tornado threat. I don't expect much more beyond just an isolated, you know, brief or weak tornado. This is also the tornado threat, so it's a little bit smaller. It doesn't include North Carolina right now, but it does include areas from Pennsylvania back through Richmond, Virginia. Is our latest there. Let's go over to here, and let's zoom back in on this. There we go. These are the storms, again, that we'll be watching later on and see if they have any tornado threat in Mississippi. Rotation in Mount Sterling. Sorry, I have to keep going back and forth. Let's go back over to Kentucky. Not sure where Mount Sterling is in Kentucky. I'm assuming it's probably here. We have a couple of areas. One near Greensboro. We have actually several areas here. A little couple of kinks here along the line. You said Mount Sterling, Kentucky, right? All right, you did. So yeah, I'm assuming it's pretty much anywhere along this area. We have a couple of areas. We have one back up here near Highsville, south of Glasgow. We've had very broad rotation there. Not anything concerning right now. Highsville, there's another one here near Greensburg, excuse me. A couple of little pockets there of some rotation. Like 3 different areas. We also have very broad rotation back up near Campbellsville. So basically 4 areas here that have some at least broad rotation right now in Kentucky. Interesting. Also east of Lexington. Right, if I knew where Lexington was. All right, let's go over to here. Any radar site? This one down here. Mount Sterling near east of Lexington. We had a couple embedded in the line. We also have another one here near Highway 60. Yeah, there's some rotation there too. Yeah, it seems like we're starting to see a little increase in the tornado threat right now. This again across Kentucky. We're also starting to see some rotation in a lot of these storms. What's in store for Ohio tonight? It's primarily just going to be rain. I don't expect much in terms of severe weather. Might see a couple of storms if you're south of Columbus, south of basically, I think, Interstate 70? Yeah, 70. Basically anywhere south of Interstate 70, there is a possibility for a couple of storms that might be isolated severe weather. Damaging winds, isolated hail threat. Can't rule out a brief tornado, but it's primarily going to be across areas in Kentucky, I think, for any tornado potential. We have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for areas in Mississippi. That is for golf ball sized hail. It's gonna be the storm back up near Greenwood and Winona. It's been a storm that's produced upwards of hen egg sized hail here for a while. That's moving southeast. This is also going, again, southeast, currently producing golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. That'll be moving towards Interstate 55 and potentially going to continue that track towards Winona over the next pretty much hour or so. Again, golf ball sized hail on this warning here in Mississippi. Again, Mississippi is an area that we're beginning to see a heat up of action here across the state. Look at me getting the interstates down. Interstates are, they're definitely interesting. I know a good amount of them, but Wisconsin looks good, Tyler, for the rest of the night. You'll be fine. Wisconsin's done. The worst of the worst has already happened, so you won't be seeing anything beyond what you've already seen. The only storm action really that we saw there was this morning, really late morning, early afternoon. After that, cold front's already moved through. Just wind really at this point. A couple of showers possible. I'd see some flurries in the north or the upper Midwest going into maybe not tonight, not tomorrow night, probably Friday night or Friday, maybe late Thursday night into the Friday morning hours, and possibly into late Friday into Saturday. I actually have a forecast somewhere. I don't remember where I put it. Let me find it. Actually, I do have it right here, I think, right? Yeah, I do. This is a look at the Wintry precipitation outlook. That's up there in, I actually posted this to members last night. If you're a member, you can see, again, I post like exclusive snowfall accumulation stuff to those that are members. But this is an interesting little outlook. This is what I made. So isolated coating flurries. Friday into early Saturday was the time frame for that threat, but it's pretty minimal. Something, if you want to pause your screen or go back a few seconds, you can see it again, but a little interesting outlook there. We have a new warning, by the way. It's actually on this storm that was just on. We have a new warning for ping pong ball sized hail for Philadelphia. And that's going to be near Standing Pine. So a little warning there. Again, that goes until 6 o'clock tonight. Ping pong ball sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds are going to be possible there. Hey, stay safe, Haley. Yeah, winds are definitely high over there. Yeah, Anthony, I know. I was watching it this morning, and I was in class, so I wasn't able to go live. Yeah, I saw what happened. I was watching it for as much as I could. Obviously, I couldn't go live, but yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was a crazy line that happened this morning, and as well as the early afternoon. I know a lot of people that live in the southeastern Wisconsin and northeastern Illinois area. I gained a lot of my following actually out of there on YouTube, so I know a lot of my viewers are like, "Where are you?" Well, I'm not here. I have class. But yeah, I know there was a lot of warnings up there. So, hey, Miss K, how you doing? Welcome. Hey, no problem, Danielle. Appreciate you tuning in. Daniel, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Also, by the way, for those that are been here for a while, I changed around my setup a little bit. So for now, I am looking. It looks like I'm looking towards the screen when I'm actually looking at my chat. I used to be looking the other way, so. But it's a very small detail, but I decided to change it because it kind of looked weird when I was just looking away off the screen. I don't know if anybody really noticed it, but just a little change. Oh, no problem, Douglas. Appreciate you tuning in. Southern edge of Tennessee. Let me look. I'm not sure where that county is. Guessing you probably are talking about somewhere. I don't see a whole lot of rotation. The only area that I could imagine you may be talking about is this one near Interstate 24. Doesn't seem like much, though. It's not really any rotation. Can you tell me, like, a city nearby for that area? Hey, Rainbow, how you doing? Welcome back. Kind of interesting. The interstates are actually numbered specifically, like 70, 60, 50, 40, that sort of thing. It's like 95, 85, 75, 65 going north to south. It's a weird pattern. If you've ever actually looked at the interstate map, there's actually a pattern to it. Nashville's just looking at rain right now, just some showers. Nashville's already seen the worst of what you're going to see anyways. Which state has the hardest cities pronounced? Definitely Wisconsin. Definitely Wisconsin. Anything in Virginia tonight, just an isolated shower. Any severe weather activity is very unlikely there. Tomorrow it's different if you're in central or eastern Virginia, but nothing tonight in terms of severe weather there. Cincinnati, Ohio. Right now, I don't think you're seeing much. Let's go back to a live view, or a little bit more of a wide view, I mean. Cincinnati, just showers. All the storm activity is basically off to your east now. Cold fronts, I think, already passing through your area, if it has not already. I think I can actually pull it up on here. Look at the front, and it's actually back out to the west, but actually I don't, that's definitely not updated. But yeah, Cincinnati just showers if anything tonight. You're basically done with storm activity, at least for now. But we're looking at for tonight. We actually have 14 severe thunderstorm warnings, by the way. I just realized that. Up to 14. I've not updated that number in a while. We have 14 severe thunderstorm warnings. The majority of them are in Mississippi now. We have a couple right now in southern Kentucky. They are tornado possible, as well as back into Mississippi. We have about 6 different warnings. 3 of them are in the same storm. So yeah, most of the warnings right now in Mississippi right now. Yeah, it's been busy. I mean, obviously we haven't had a whole lot of storm activity across at least really the entire United States for the last couple of weeks, other than Ian. Ian was the only thing that really brought us any sort of activity. So this is the first time we've actually seen a bit of more of an active pattern, I mean, across the United States, probably for a while now. So this is definitely one of the first ones we've seen in a while. As it has been it's been a few weeks since we've actually seen a trough in the United States that has brought any sort of severe weather. Last time we saw any severe weather, really, in terms of at least something being kind of, you know, a bit more on the upscale side, was in Wisconsin. And that was, as well as Minnesota, that was the hail event that we saw. We saw up to teacup-sized hail. A few of you may remember that stream. That was a few weeks ago, though. That was the last time we saw any sort of actual notable severe weather event in the United States. I can't remember the exact day. That was about a week, I would say, before Ian happened. So, stay safe, ma'am. See you later, clocks. High wind warning. Yeah, there's probably gonna be high wind warnings up there, and it's all due to the fact behind this Cold front, winds are pretty high. I mean, we're talking upwards of 60 miles per hour behind this area. Back over in South Dakota, winds have been measured upwards of 70 to 75 miles per hour at one point. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in northern South Dakota. We had a little warning or a little wind report there of 72 miles per hour. So winds are high behind this cold front. It's all behind the very strong trough that we have back into Canada. Hey, thanks, York. I appreciate it. Was it bad in Spring Hill? Spring Hill was probably at least saw some gusty winds. I don't know if you really saw any damage. Only damage report that we've had so far was an hour ago in Fairview. That was for some large tree limbs down. That was during a tornado warning, which I don't think it was associated with the tornado, but there was probably at least some damaging wind gusts there back west of Franklin. But other than that, just some strong storms still rolling through there. After that, you should be clearing out within the next hour and a half. Not looking forward to this weather. It's a pattern change. It's I've been mentioning this for probably about since this weekend at least, that this was coming. Didn't really mention the severe weather potential up until I would say a few days ago, probably on Sunday's forecast. But also the video forecast for the next few weeks, or probably at least the next couple of months. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday will be the upload days. I will not have uploads most likely on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll be taking those days, quote unquote, off from making a video, just really primarily because I have a lot of basically schoolwork. So. Yeah, there's been a lot of storms rotating in Kentucky. The latest, here's the latest high def look at this. Had a lot of rotation in Kentucky. Not sure if it's the same as what it was before. Yeah, we still have a rotation here near 70. Have another little couplet near Greensburg. Yeah, we have a couple of areas here. But yeah, there's definitely been some rotation in the state. I know you mentioned that there was one back over in near Lexington. It was back over here. Yeah, look at that rotation. Near Owingsville. That looks to be pretty strong rotation right now. That's currently associated there near Interstate 64. Definitely have some strong rotation there. Yeah, it's definitely been active across these areas. A lot of rotation, though, in Kentucky so far. New warning, by the way, for Tallahatchie County, Mississippi for ping pong ball-sized hail. No wind threat with that storm. Little update there. Southwest Virginia, not anything tonight, most likely. You might see a brief isolated shower or storm, but severe weather is not expected. At least in that area for now. Storm in Mount Sterling's like 25 miles away from me. Yeah, that storm is, again, that one looked to be rotating a pretty good amount. At least on that radar. I mean, there's a possibility that the rotation's not nearly as strong as that. It probably isn't. Because I don't think it's nearly as strong in the higher levels, but it is a storm to watch. Again, it might actually end up producing something long term. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. 2 warnings about to expire, by the way. The one in Murfreesboro, and as well as Woodbury. And the one back up here east of Nashville, both about to expire. The one for Lebanon, Carthage, and as well as Hartsville goes for at least another 30 minutes. So that's our latest update there. Hey, thank you, York, for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you. Northern South Carolina might be seeing some storms tomorrow or soon. Tomorrow would be when there might be some storm activity. There won't be really anything, I would say, really tonight. Most likely, at least. There might be an isolated storm, but nothing too crazy. Kind of curious. Anything going on down here? It's over in Mississippi. Not a whole lot of action here has developed yet. This is the area I mentioned before that we'll have to watch for maybe an hour or two. Might see an increase of a tornado threat, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But that's an area to watch maybe over the next couple of hours. Other than that, most of these storms just producing 60-mile-per-hour winds, isolated large hail as well. That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, I think the storms are going to start winding down in that area here soon. So start to wind down a little bit. Hey, thanks, Lacey. I appreciate it. Have a great night. Or a great day. It's not night yet. Technically, it's not. Have a good one. I'm going to take a look at Twitter real quick. We'll see if we have any new photos or videos coming in. We do have a new mesoscale discussion for Arkansas, Mississippi, and northern Louisiana. Isolated supercells expected to continue into the evening. So that is again why we do have a potential for an isolated tornado or two over this direction. We'll be watching that closely tonight, see if anything does end up developing there. But for right now, a lot of these storms right now are just pretty much on the marginal threat of the severe weather spectrum right now. Tornado threat still seems to be pretty low. Again, we've had a lot of rotation though back up in Kentucky, so a lot of those storms have at least some broad rotation. We'll watch for that QLCS possibility in southern Kentucky. A little isolated tornado threat back up in central and northeastern Kentucky as well over the next couple of hours, so see what happens. Having some loud storms. Probably a lot of lightning, I would assume. A lot of lightning over that direction. I have no clue, Scott. I couldn't tell you. A long time from now. See what happens. We will see what happens. We do have a new warning in Kentucky associated with the storms that have been rotating here for a while. This is the one near Greensburg. Yeah, again, this is the rotation that we've been looking at here. We've actually had some pretty decent rotation. One right here, one back down here. Again, one near Greensburg, some broad rotation. We have another one back down here near 869, near Highway 8 or 68. Both of those areas, again, seeing a little bit of rotation. So we'll watch that closely as these, again, continue to track out to the east-northeast. But yeah, again, we've had a decent amount of rotation with a few of these storms. Had another one back up here near, it was east of Lexington. We actually had a little bit of rotation on too. So there's definitely some storms rotating in Kentucky. We'll see if any of them actually transpire into anything. They are all labeled at least at tornado possible. So we're watching that one, or all those storms pretty closely. But other than that, a lot of damaging winds and hail right now. Hey, Lillian, how you doing? How you doing from Wisconsin? You see any of the storms this morning in Wisconsin? Need some brave chasers to commit to Dixie Alley. Dixie Alley, I would say, is the most dangerous place to probably chase, just due to the fact there's so many trees, and you know it's hard to see what's going on there. So depends on where you are, though. I mean, you could be in a bit more of a rural area. It kind of depends on where you are in the Dixie Valley area. Some of the areas, it's very like if you're on like the big roads, kind of in the middle of nowhere, there's typically not nearly as many trees, but it kind of just varies on where you are. So Dixie Alley, I would probably say, is one of the more dangerous areas to chase, though. United States. No, Tyler, you're good in Wisconsin. No more tornado warnings in Wisconsin today. Full front's already passed. Thanks, Marnie. I hope I do too. That's all I'm looking for at this point. Take a pass. We'll take a passing on it. Trees and hills surround me at all times in the metro Atlanta area. Yeah, I feel like the Dixie Valley is probably probably most dangerous area to chase. There's a lot of trees, hard to navigate some of those roads as well. So it's not easy. It's not easy. I've never storm chased, obviously, but I know for a fact there's a lot more terrain issues. If you're in like the Central Plains, there's really not that many trees to worry about if you're kind of out there just in the field. You don't have to worry about it nearly as much, but Lebannon, Tennessee, now you're done for at least a tornado threat. You are pretty much done. Let me just double check here real quick. Yeah, Lebanon's done. After the storm passes, you're just looking at some showers for the rest of the evening, and then after that, no tornado threat for you. You'll be good. I haven't seen any pictures of any of the tornadoes today, no. Arkansas storm, by the way, for those in Calhoun and Bradley County. Warning's been upgraded to ping pong ball size tail there as well. Not necessarily, Scott. I mean, it really just varies on situation. I mean, it's definitely possible that the Gulf moisture plays a part into, these storms potentially being, rain wrapped, but typically they're not always. And it's not because they're rain wrapped. I mean, honestly, any tornadoes that happen in the Dixie Valley can just be dangerous if you're at least storm chasing. But storm chasing out here is a whole different story. I mean, you're talking again about a lot of trees and stuff. Depends on where you are. If you're a little bit further south, you don't have to worry about it nearly as much. But really anywhere up in here in central portions of Georgia and whatnot, along Interstate 20, for example, a lot more trees in these areas. So it makes it much harder to storm chase than in comparison to area like, the Central Plains, where there's just nothing there really. It's just a lot of fields. So just the terrains can vary a lot. I wouldn't say the Gulf moisture plays a huge part in rain wrapping storms. It's not always because of that, but yeah, it definitely plays a little factor. No, anybody in Wisconsin, you're done. I know a lot of people had, tornado warnings and stuff like that this morning. We're done. We're not seeing anything else in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's done. Other than that, I mean, anywhere really north or west of Ohio, you're done for tonight. It's basically Ohio back through the Alabama and Mississippi region that we will see some severe weather tonight. So you will not see anything in Wisconsin. You're good for tonight. You're good. Now, Virginia is not seeing storms tonight. You might see some tomorrow, but not tonight. Fierce weather in Minnesota hits north, west, south, and central. Misses everything. North. Well, actually, this season was kind of interesting. We saw a lot more severe weather in a couple events. We saw more severe weather in northern and western, or really I would say northern and central portions of Minnesota. But we did see some severe weather events that happened in the south and east. Near Minnesota, I mean, we were really near Minneapolis. We had a couple of decent days of severe weather there. So I wouldn't say we really saw that much of a difference, I would say, across the state. I think Wisconsin will get any snow Thursday night. Thursday night, probably not. There might be some overnight into Friday morning, but it's not gonna be much. Just an isolated, couple of flurries. Most of any snow that does fall will not hit the ground, most likely. Or it might hit the ground, but it won't probably accumulate into anything. Thanks, Shelly. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Yeah, anything up in... Primarily, if there were to be any snow in Wisconsin, like late tomorrow night into early Friday morning or Saturday, it's probably going to be up in northern portions of Wisconsin. It won't be down in like areas that saw the tornado warnings today. So pretty much the outlook in terms of at least maybe a little bit of snow, but it won't be much. I don't expect much, at least right now. Things could change, but it doesn't seem like it'll be much at all. Seems like right now the current forecast from at least the HRR model, which is the most recent update, it's showing upwards of 1 to 3 inches in areas in northern Wisconsin. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I have not really researched that one in particular, but I knew that there's a potential for at least some flurries. Let me look real quick. Yeah, it depends on how far south this trough goes, but there might be a little bit of coating, maybe an inch or two. Yeah, I haven't really looked too much into it since yesterday, but depends on how far south this trough does end up going. And how much moisture is kind of on the back end, too. A couple of variables there. Hey, Dobbs, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm in the central area? Yeah, central area probably will not see much. You might see some flurries, but I don't think you'll see any accumulation at this point, at least Friday. But I'll take another look at it and see what we're kind of looking at. Because I haven't looked at it since yesterday. That was on the European model. The latest update on the HR model is a little bit different. Severe thunderstorm watch, by the way, has been condensed. Only includes areas now east of Nashville. Also still includes areas through Arkansas and Mississippi and extreme northwestern Alabama right now. So just a little update on the severe thunderstorm watch. And again, goes until 11 o'clock Eastern time or 10 o'clock Central time tonight. Yeah, there's a lot of tornado warnings in Wisconsin today. It was busy morning. North Carolina will not see any tornado threat tonight. Tomorrow, it's a very low chance if you're in like northern North Carolina, but I don't think that's in that area. Very small area. Like north/northeast North Carolina. Hey, thanks, Jolly. Have a great one. Appreciate you stopping by. There's a blizzard warning in Alaska. Seriously. I didn't actually know that. I haven't really been looking up. I mean, I don't really, to be brutally honest with you, I've never really looked at Alaska weather, at least in terms of covering it on videos and stuff like that. I just don't look up there. So it's actually kind of interesting. There's already a blizzard warning up there. We are in October. October, we typically start to see some snow. I mean, we don't see, blizzards or anything like that typically in the United States, at least this early in October. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Alaska does end up seeing some snow, but I didn't actually know that. I need to look a little. I only do the lower 48, so I don't ever really cover Hawaii or Alaska unless there's some big event going on there. But radar has glitched out. 1 second. Come back down here into Mississippi real quick. Yeah, and actually, I need to eat. I haven't eaten in a while. Yeah, I'm planning on it. All right, so for those that are tuning in right now, I'm probably going to end the stream here in a few minutes, and I'll probably go live again in an hour or two if there's some severe weather that ends up ramping up, any tornado warnings and stuff like that. I'll probably do a second live stream. That's been my plan since I began the stream, so we'll see, though. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll try to get to a few of them here before that, because, again, I have a pretty important midterm tomorrow, so I'll study a lot for that. Hey, no problem, Mayhem. Stay safe. Should be fine there in Tennessee. Tennessee's starting to clear out, at least anywhere near the Nashville area. Again, this is a live look in the Nashville region. Nashville saw a tornado warning just west of Nashville. There was a tornado warning bowing out line right now over just east of there near Interstate 40 and Interstate 24. And that line goes all the way through Kentucky and back into Mississippi. So it's a very long line. It's about 250 miles long. So... but it is starting to get disconnected a little bit. Northern side of it's going a little bit faster. Backside down here southwest of the northern line is going a little bit slower. That will kind of collapse a little bit further down to the south and east as well. So it will not necessarily just go east. We'll see it go a little bit further south here over the next few hours. So it happens there, though. Hey, Bugsy, how you doing? Welcome back. Yeah, there's a critical severe, or not critical, critical severe. There's a critical fire danger tomorrow across a large portion of the central and northern plains. Basically, the Great Plains, not including the southern plains, but yeah, the Great Plains are in that little threat for tomorrow. So there's been a little increase in that potential tomorrow for a fire danger. It's going to get pretty dry over there, and the winds are going to be pretty high. So definitely a possibility that we see a few fires across that area. It's a very large area, too. Thank you, Roman, by the way, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Anything for the Ohio Valley? Sorry, I missed your question. Ohio, there's a low chance tonight. It's an isolated threat. This is, again, the threat for tonight. Go back over wide view here. This is for tonight, so southern Ohio. Marginal threat beyond that. I mean, it's basically going through the southern states. But yeah, Ohio, maybe southeast Indiana. I would say Indiana's pretty much done now. Severe weather, though, possible. Very low chance, I would say, south of Columbus. Other than that, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi are probably going to be the main states tonight. Maybe even southeast Arkansas and northeast Louisiana. But I think the main concern at this point tonight will probably be across this region. I'll kind of outline it here. This is my main concern. Outside of there, we may see a couple of, severe storms that might even produce maybe an isolated threat for some, damaging winds, large hail, isolated tornado threat. But it seems like the main concern tonight will definitely be across Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee tonight. There could be, again, an isolated storm further north or south. We do have warnings ongoing for some of those areas, but in terms of a tornado threat, greatest tornado threat's going to be across this area over the next couple of hours in Mississippi. So we'll see what happens there. But it seems like a lot of those storms are failing to really develop into much. I appreciate it, Jelly. You think Wisconsin will hit the teens next week? Yeah, they probably will. I don't know about... I don't know. It depends on where you are in Wisconsin. Let me take a look again. I know the current estimate was that it would get into the 30s, possibly into the 20s. Going to early next week once we have a second cold front come through. 20s is probably going to happen in Wisconsin. It may dive into the teens Tuesday morning, but it seems to be that it will be just warm enough that we won't get that low. Double check again, see if there's anything from the National Weather Source on that. Yeah, it seems like 20s is the lowest right now. There might be teens back near the Canada border, for those that like in Minnesota and whatnot. But other than that, yeah, mostly 20s. 20s, 30s, going to be the lows. But we're talking about mid-20s. Wind chills could even be a bit lower than that. So we're looking at for right now. Thanks, Shelly. I appreciate it. Have a great one. Alrighty, well, that's actually going to do it for today's, or at least this stream. Again, this was planned to be short anyways. But I might have another live stream in an hour or two. If we begin to see a tornado threat ramp up or anything like that across these areas, I'll have another live stream. But again, I have a pretty important midterm tomorrow, and I was not even planning on going live today. So just, you know, at this point, this is kind of not planned. But I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, if you're not already, make sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you're new here before you leave. And again, I might go live again in an hour or two. If I do, you'll see a live stream on YouTube. Just make sure you have your notifications turned on. And we'll go live if there's anything to be noted. Otherwise, the main concern, damaging winds and hail. Can't rely on an isolated tornado threat. But if there is something that ramps up in terms of the tornado potential, I'll have a second live stream in about an hour or two. But it seems like the severe weather potential will be through about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. So there is still a pretty large window. So I might have another live stream. Just keep an eye out for it. Again, make sure to turn on your post notifications. By doing that, you just got to click the bell icon down below and you'll be notified when I go live next. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you, Brian, again, for the 5 gifted members at the beginning of the stream. Thank you for the super chats as well. The donation as well from Sixth. I appreciate that. And have a great rest of your night. If I do not go live again, have a great rest of your night. I will not have a forecast most likely tomorrow, but I will have one on Saturday, Sunday, most likely. I might have one Friday morning. We'll see. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you guys all again soon. If I go live again tonight, you know, then I'll see you then. If not, I'll see you guys again